In The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, the humorist Douglas Adams writes about how dependent the quintessential human male is on his community. Left to his own devices, he couldn't build a toaster. He could just about make a sandwich, and that was it. Someone actually put that theory to the test. I'm trying to build a toaster from scratch, beginning by mining the raw materials and ending with a product that sells for only £3.99, the British designer Thomas Thwaites wrote on the website for his book, The Toaster Project. He failed miserably. Our world has become so interconnected, the web of supply chains so vast and intricate. A simple toaster requires some 400 components, sourced from all over the globe. The core driver of that was the pursuit of efficiency and better profit margins, accelerated by globalization, and Thwaites was hardly the first to realize that. In 1958, the American economist Leonard Read wrote an essay titled I Pencil. It was from that writing instrument's point of view, detailing the sheer complexity of its creation, such that not a single person on the face of this earth knows how to make me, the pencil said. That statement applies for a toaster, a pencil, or anything at all for that matter. It exemplifies the extensive divisions of labor that have come to define our economy, distilled into the credo that people should all be doing what they do best. The required cedar for the pencil grows in Northern California and Oregon, whose farmers have made a name for themselves for providing such wood. The resultant logs are shipped to San Leandro, California to be cut, where the area's millwrights specialize in that, having trained for years and to do it better than their competitors. The graphite is mined in Sri Lanka, then mixed with clay from Mississippi and treated with wax from Mexico, and the oil that goes into the rubber is from Indonesia, all areas where such materials are the most easily obtained. Stretching supply lines around the world, farming out the production of individual components to wherever they can be made at the lowest price, means selling cheaper pencils than the competitor, or getting more profit while maintaining the price, better margins for the same cost. In turn, such sourcing has caused certain industries, particularly specialized ones, to cluster even more tightly together. California's Central Valley, for example, produces some 80% of the world's almonds. Thus, no company, no country is truly independent. Everyone uploaded onto a vast, tangled global network. And that has exposed everyone to new risk. COVID-19 would show that while individual companies had profited, interdependency had created weakness in the wider ecosystem. In such a world, with so many moving parts, small shocks in one corner can drastically affect the whole. If war mars Australia, which produces the most iron ore in the world, maybe customers get no toasters in the United Kingdom. If strikes in San Leandro, California close down the mill, perhaps the American pencil company shuts down. Sometimes that is that. Sometimes the onward impact just stops there. It takes the alignment of millions of stars, millions of dominoes falling in just the right way for small events to ripple big. Most don't, and you never hear about them. Imagine the thousands, maybe millions, of other animal-borne infections all throughout history that, for one reason or another, did not spread so well. Their names known only in lab reports and scholarly journals, if at all. The integrated nature of the world, however, combined with instantaneous transmission of information, presents more pathways for these events to escalate, more than ever before. Sometimes, when the San Leandro lumber mill shuts down, it doesn't just affect the pencil company. It could affect the cedar farm in Oregon too, for one of its biggest clients may be the pencil company that now cannot make pencils. By the time of COVID-19, China's share of the world economy had become 4 times the figure during the SARS outbreak. That larger share, when shaken, was enough to send global laptop production plunging by as much as 50% at one point. 4 times as big also means 4 times as connected, in a world already increasingly integrated. A US business is now more likely to sell to China. When that American business suffers, so does the Canadian company it partners with. So does the French company that buys from the Canadian one. And that's just the ripple effect from the disruption in China alone. When COVID-19 spread, that impact was amplified as economies everywhere shut down. Eventually, European car makers feared widespread disruption simply because a single electronics manufacturer had been forced to suspend production. That vulnerability can be seen everywhere. For every small aspect of the economy is a microcosm for the whole. Just like how, at the top of a tree, the spindly limbs and their offshoots have the same proportions as the thick trunk and its branches at the bottom. Every branch is a miniature of the one it diverged from. Like how, under the microscope, zooming onto bits of a snowflake reveals intricate, repeating patterns. In this complex machine of a world, every cog contains smaller, but just as complex, machines. Within organizations, roles are so specialized that nobody can do anything by themselves. Even the president of the pencil company has only a tiny, infinitesimal bit of know-how on how to make the product read wrote in iPencil. To take this a step further, rather than just dividing labor within, companies also parcel it out. For one example, few companies hire their own cleaning staff. Newspapers, for another, increasingly outsource page design to specialized firms. By 2018, 1,000 separate American publications had their pages designed out of just 25 hubs. At one point, 40% of the world's electronics, iPhones, Blackberries, Nokia mobile devices, PlayStations, Xbox, Wii, were contracted out to one Taiwanese company for assembly. Even governments have been increasingly outsourcing. In Alberta, if you lose your driver's license or want to register a company, it's the private sector that takes care of that. With everyone a gear, not just a part of, but also dependent on a greater whole, with everyone occupying such a specialized role in nearly every aspect of society, that creates expansive, pervasive interdependency. Douglas Adams was too generous in saying one person could make even a sandwich from scratch, which would require knowledge in bread making, animal rearing, meat curing, farming, and sauce blending. Thus, the ever-present cause and effect, the onward impact of each disturbance to the world, can go on and back and forth without end. Eventually, with 1/3 of humanity under some sort of lockdown, demand for oil fell, and amid an oversupply, the commodity's price hit a negative. Producers had to pay for people to take their crude away. And this doesn't just affect the oil executives. What of the future of cars and those who make them? During the COVID-19 crisis, nobody was visiting shopping malls, restaurants, entertainment venues, or going to school. And services, whatever the kind, make up 4 in 5 American jobs. So companies lay off people who may default on their loans. Companies may default on their loans too. Bankruptcies quickly started sweeping the retail landscape, with old and respected brands such as Neiman Marcus seeking relief from billions of dollars in debt. Banks took a bludgeoning. Amid the resulting financial uncertainty, everyone spends less, and the cycle repeats. Combine that with supply chain disruptions, the modern world's rapid flow of information, and big finance's high-frequency algorithmic trading, computers now make some 40% of all stock transactions, ensuring business shocks reverberate quickly to investors. And we had a recipe for disaster.